back, everybody. As you can see, we have Bryce with us. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and we will do our best to get to you. We'll start off with Jimmy.
Bryce, first time on defense, how did everything feel, back-wise, just in general?
Yeah, it felt good to get back out there, kind of get back into game mode, playing right field and hitting at the same time. So it felt good, felt good throwing the ball in, got a little action with the ball to the wall, down the line a little bit, and then that fly ball. So everything felt good today.
Earlier this spring, you mentioned working on throwing. Did you try to change your mechanics or something?
Just a little something that I had to do. I don't really want to get too far into it, but changed it. Feel good of where it's going, and yeah, feel fine right now.
One of the things I've noticed from watching you is you often air it out when you throw it in from the outfield. Occasionally, airmailing the cutoff men. Will you try to hit the cutoff men more now, maybe to ease pressure and intensity on your throw, and maybe that'll help your back?
I think the last couple of years I've done a great job of throwing through and throwing guys out when needed, and not doing that, when it's not needed. So that was one thing that me and Pac worked on in 19 when I got here, and I think I've done a great job throwing through the cut when I need to, and then not throwing, going crazy when it's not needed.
Okay. Thank you. Were you on deck there, by the way? Would you have batted in that inning?
Yeah, I was on deck.
Okay, so you didn't. Okay, thank you.
Next, we'll go to Scott and then Matt Breen.
Hey, Bryce. I think the last time we talked to you, you mentioned that the adjustment had to do with your legs. Is that just to relieve some of the stress on your back? I guess if you could elaborate just a little bit on maybe why the change or what you did.
Yeah, I just think it just betters me in all aspects, not just my back and my arm or anything like that, but everything all around. So being able to kind of reteach myself to throw properly and not put too much stress on my shoulder or my elbow, my lower back or my legs. I had to do that pretty much all off season, and then I carried into spring training, and I like the way it's going right now. I feel strong, I feel good, and I just need to watch myself on certain things when I am out there, so I don't put stress in the bad area of my body.
How much did you and Paco talk through that in the off season, if at all, or has that been more a spring training thing? You're working with him on some of those things.
No, I caught it myself. Kind of what I was doing. I've been doing it probably for about 18, 19 years now, and nobody really caught it. So I was going over some techniques. I was going over some things, on video and whatnot, when I would throw, kind of from what I caught and things like that. It kind of transferred over to playing the outfield. The first time I played the outfield was once I got drafted. So I've had to learn this at the big league level for 10 plus years. So it's been tough every year trying to understand what I need to do, how I need to do it out there. Being able to have Paco as my outfield coach, he keeps me in it every single day. He understands what I need to do, how to get better, and I owe a lot to Pac because he finally was the first coach that really has taught me how to play a position other than catcher and third base. So it's been good to be able to work with him. I actually thanked him at the beginning of camp because he does give me a lot of opportunity to get better. He makes me work, makes me shag the right way, and also make sure I'm staying in it in the games. And I've been able to do that over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Bryce. When you were a prospect, you and Matt Moore were on the rankings together. I'm just curious, did you know him back then, and were you aware of the other guys that you were ranked closely with?
I think everybody knew Matt because he was, one of the guys, one of the top prospects in the league at that time coming up. I didn't know him personally, but you heard from afar how good he was, and the opportunities he had to be a player that he kind of wanted to be. And then he went through some hardships and things like that, and then really went to Japan, had an opportunity out there, and kind of turned it around. So When we signed him, I was actually very excited to, get a lefty in our rotation again. I think having a left-handed pitcher in your rotation, especially in between, Nola and Wheeler and, Eflin, I think that's huge to have somebody that kind of, intercepts that a little bit and changes the, the identity of just having a right-handed pitcher. So that's huge for us. I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think he's throwing the ball, really well in camp this year. He's a great person, great guy. From what I can tell you from when I've been around him, a couple of times this spring. So I'm looking forward to it. We need him to, we need him. We need him to be the guy for us and be the left-handed starter that we know he can be. And he's kind of on that comeback tour of, hey, I have something to prove. I know I can, do this, and I know I can do it at a high level. So I'm looking forward to, what he can do.
And one last thing I mean to ask you, when you talked about Stott a couple weeks ago, you name dropped Garrett Anderson. And that's a guy that you didn't play with, or, was out of the league by the time you came into the league. And I know you've talked about before how you grew up a big baseball fan, watching the game of the week. When you, if you were a fan, now that everyone's talking about how to make this game better for fans again, how do you think the game can improve, coming from you as a fan?
Yeah, it's a tough question. I grew up watching a little bit here and there. I wasn't a huge fan of the game. Like you said, I'd pretty much watch TBS because the Braves were on there, WGN after, and I'd roll right into like Family Matters and Full House. So I'd watch that and then roll into that. So, of course, day game at Wrigley, it's Sosa and Alu and Pryor and Mark Grace and all these guys. Grace was before that, I think. But, I did enjoy the game and I understood the game a little bit. But I think the thing is just being able to promote guys the right way. I think promoting the game is huge, of course. I think other sports do a great job of that. But also guys got to be willing to do it as well. I think it works on both sides. I think there's certain players that don't want to do it. The more older I've gotten, the more I haven't wanted to do things on a national scale. 6 hours at a commercial shoot, 8 hours at another commercial shoot, photographs, things like that. So you have to be willing to put in the work on both sides. But you have to grow the game the best way you can. I said it actually on starting nine, with Dallas Braden and Jared. I said, the biggest thing is I think you should grow the game in the Olympics. You really want to grow this game on a national scale. You do it in the Olympics on the biggest stage in the world. Being able to play for your country from any country, having guys go and, trying to work that out the best way we can to have your big league players in the Olympics on the national stage. I think that's pretty incredible to be able to do that. I said, having teammates play against each other. Just imagine, Trout facing Ohtani. It'd be an incredible experience for the fans. It'd be an incredible experience for the guys. So I think just growing the game on a national scale, making it easier for people to play the game of baseball, making it a little bit more, easy on all ends, not just playing travel ball, but, playing rec ball or anything else, but making it easier for kids to be able to get into the game and love the game, because it is a great game. I know that's a long answer, but I think it starts with the kids. It starts with kids loving the game of baseball and growing it the right way and understanding that. And then I think everything else will fall into place because you want kids to play the game of baseball because it's a great game.
Maybe put Family Matters on after every game.
Hey, you know what? It was a great show when I was growing up. So, right into that. Didn't really care about the Cubs. Cared more about Full House and Family Matters. So,
thanks, Bryce.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Let's finish up with Matt Gill.
I'm not going to ask you to sing the Full House theme, but I'm wondering when you look at the rotations in the division, like what sticks out to you? I mean, it seems like there's pretty stacked rotations up and down this NL East.
Yeah, you think about it. We start out with the Braves, correct, for 3 games, and then we go in to play New York for 3 games.
Yeah.
So, just imagine that. You go in, you face Fried, Soroka, and Anderson for your first 3, and then you get Carrasco, Stroman, and then DeGrom on that 3rd day. So, I mean, you're facing 6 guys that could win the Cy Young. And you're not even talking about the Nationals yet, or nobody talks about Miami. And Miami's got one of the best staffs around. So I don't understand why nobody talks about them, because, I mean, facing them all year long, it's very tough. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be a tough division. I think everybody knows that. I think we just have to bring our A game every night. Of course, we're going to be off on some nights, but we have to understand that we're going to face very good pitching at all times. So we need to beat the teams that we need to, and fight as best we can to, beat the really good teams. Hopefully get a couple of runs off DeGrom, if that's even possible anymore. But I mean, it's a very tough division. I'm looking forward to it. I know guys in this clubhouse are looking forward to it, and we have to understand we're a really good team as well. We got a great lineup, so I'm looking forward to that competition and getting going.
Thank you.
All right, Bryce, thank you for your time.
Cool. Thanks, guys.